Hi folks, hope things are going okay, hope things are going well for you as we head towards the latter half of the week. If you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below, the Patreon button is also down below. If you really like what I do and you want to get involved, want to buy me a beer over the weekend, that is the place to go and do it. So it's going to be a quick one today because we've got a lot of things going on in the old house, so I'm trying to keep my voice down and make sure that I'm getting on with it. I've got a lot of lessons to do today. And lots of scripts to write, lots of lessons to plan, so let's head straight on with it. Recently, we've had some very, very, very important news, and this may have flown under the radar a little bit with some people. But I stumbled across it yesterday, and I wanted to really cover it because I believe it's extremely essential that when GW gets something right, that we have to actually jump in and give them some credit on why they got things right. So, here is where we are. As you can tell by the title of the video, online rules should work, and they do work, and this is why. Okay, very recently we've been given access to all of our indexes. Well, at least if you're on the Imperium side, all of your indexes are here, and if you click on them like this, say the Grey Knights here, it opens up a new tab. You go over here, and here's all of your stuff, right? All of your rules, and I'll get into this as we go along later on to make sure that everybody knows exactly what things are and what they say, and you know how good they are, how they might not be very good. Anyway, every single Imperium faction has them here, but at the bottom you will see there is a note here. All right, let's give it a little read. There's also a very slight update to the Death Watch datasheets posted earlier this week. After field tests, our resident tech Magos deemed Hellfire rounds to be a little too dangerous on certain units, so that stratagem has been tweaked. It now does not affect weapons with the devastating wounds rule. They can now download the updated index here, and of course it's over here. Go over there, and the index has been duly updated. Very, very, very quickly, at once. As soon as there was a problem detected, it was patched out of the game straight away. That's absolutely phenomenal, and this is what we've been saying for ages. We've been saying this for years. This is why online rules work so well. They can be patched, hotfixed in a heartbeat. If you don't know what the actual problem was with this rule, essentially the Death Watch could deal out 2+ mortal wounds on a d6 by using the Hellfire round stratagem, and combine that with devastating hits, which almost all kill team models have access to, they become absolutely broken very, very, very quickly. How this was not caught earlier on, I have no idea, because it is so egregious. And the point is, though, guys, is that I kind of think this is where you can see Games Workshop's biases, especially with Death Watch. Death Watch were one of the weaker factions of 9th edition. They just were. They weren't very good. Infantry-based army, is what it is. And I honestly think that this was an oversight. There are certain armies that do not get as much love as anyone else. Anybody who's seen the army rules can tell you there are certain factions in this game that get a lot more love and appreciation than others. And Death Watch is being one of those on the lower end scale. Ironically, this would have pulled them up to be one of the best units, one of the best factions in the game. And now they've been downgraded yet again, which, Death Watch fans will be really annoyed by, but it is what it is. So they recognised that this was a broken thing. They went in and they hot-fixed it straight away. This is why digital rules are the future. They are absolutely the future of this hobby. Okay? Second thing I wanted to get into was going into it in the future. So in the future, we are going to have lots and lots and lots of problems with codexes. And this is what I mean. This is why I'm so against codexes. Because as soon as you bring out a codex, all of this good work that you've done with your online rules, where you say, hey, you know what? The Death Watch are a bit overpowered. Why don't we just do a new one? Here we go. We've done a new one. There we go. It's done. We've rewritten it, reposted it, all done. And all you need to do as a Death Watch player is go on and re-download your rules. Job done. Right? That easy. How cool is that? There's no law here. There's no... there's no gumph to get in the way. All of your rules are just here, ready for you to go on and have some fun with. When the codexes come out, this goes away. This goes away because the codexes will outstrip all of these rules, right? There won't be different templates in there, absolutely not. What there will be is a lot more stratagems. There'll be a lot more stratagems in the Codex than there are here. There will be different detachment rules in the Codex, and there will be different army rules in the Codex that you can choose from as well. I'm willing to bet that they say there's only going to be one for each army. I think there'll be multiple. I think they'll be exclusive to the Codex. And your detachment rules and your extra stratagems will be overpowered as F. Why? Because they want you to buy the Codex. That's what's going to slow down the game going forwards. And what if there's something wrong with the Codex? Well, what if they release, an updated version of all of these models with rules tweaked a little bit? Okay. That basically means that this index is useless. And that's what they will do as well. So let's say Captain Artemis here. Watch Captain Artemis. Let's say something about his profile is a bit out of whack, right? It works really well, but it's a bit out of whack. It's not quite how they want it. So in the Deathwatch Codex, they take that opportunity to fix that. They fix it for you, and no problem, there it is. Only problem is, it's behind a paywall now. So if you want to play with those extra special cool rules, you have to go and buy the £35 Codex. That's what you need to go and get. This stat line is now useless. And it probably won't even be legal in a tournament or an event. No matter how lackadaisical they are about their rulings, they will say you need to use the most up-to-date rules. That's literally, that's the A1 standard. You need to use the most up-to-date version of the rules. So these indexes, I'm just very scared. I'm very scared because this is a massive step in the right direction that GW have just taken. It is a huge, massive step in the right direction. That they've said, look, this was broken, we've immediately fixed it. That's how online rules work when they're free. We immediately fix it and everybody has access to it. That's phenomenal. Well done, GW. The problem is, codexes are coming down the line, and they will make all of this good work irrelevant. Because how do you update a book? You release a new book that people have to go and buy again. And how do you update that book where you release a new one that you have to go and buy again? And how do you update things with a specialist game tome like Psychic Awakening, where you make a new book, and you've got to go buy that as well? They will never, ever, ever get rid of that way of doing things. Even though they're showing us here, they are showing us how it should work. Can you imagine Votan if they came out a bit broken and they went, okay, bang, the indexes are fixed overnight. Indexes are fixed. All controversy that goes away, all complaints go away. They're immediately fixed, they're immediately brought into line. Hooray. If people complain that, this faction's really underpowered, bang, overnight fix, done. Overnight fix. They've got all of this. They can weaponize the community by having us play the game, by having us play test the rules, and really find all the nooks and crannies and all the kinks that are in this game engine that they obviously want to stick with going forwards. 10th is a massive reset. Okay, then give it to us, let us break it, and then you can fix it overnight. Like that. Just fix it overnight, no problem, and your indexes are re-released the next day. Excuse me guys, if you're on Deathwatch or you're on Grey Knights, you need to re-download your indexes for your next games because we've updated the rules, and here's how we've changed them. Wonderful. Excellent. You could do it overnight. They have done it overnight. They patched one of the rules before the game's even fucking out. Before it's even been released. GW have patched the rules. That's how quick they can do this. And that's why it should be this way from now on. It won't be because they're too greedy. They will go back to codexes and we'll be right back to square one. But this is the way to do it. And I'm super, super glad. And this is why I said the other day, listen, we're coming into the golden age of this edition. And this might be the golden age of 40k as a whole, because I really like the way 10th edition is looking and working right now. I really like it. It's really, really, really cool. Whenever I see it get played, it's really fast-paced, but really deep and in-depth. So that's what I like about it right now. The more we go on, though, the more bloat gets added by the codexes, that's when the game dies. Every single edition, that's when it dies. It dies when the codexes come out. When the codexes start reaming out and making other armies completely irrelevant, that's when things die. Alright, the next thing that's positive that I want to go over is the stratagems. So, army rule, great. Detachment rule, great, no problem. You will get more on the codexes. When Codex Grey Knights come out, there'll be 4 or 5 detachment rules that are way overpowered and are way better than Teleport Shunt. I'm telling you now. Stratagems. That was my point, by the way, is that people are saying, well, just don't buy the codex. How, mate? How? How are you supposed to not buy the codex if the rules in the codex are better than the rules that are on the index? Because this is the most important part. Right? The detachment rule is the most important part of your army. It just is. Right? It's the most powerful of the two rules normally, and it's the most important part. If you have one called Hammerhand, let's say you buy the Grey Knight Codex and I don't because I can't afford it, right? I'm playing the Teleport Shunt, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. You're playing with one called Hammerhand, which gives all of your units, you know, +3 attacks and +3 strength on the charge. Or something similar, right? You're beating me hands down because you paid money for the Codex and I didn't. You have access to better rules than I do. There may even be something in the Codex that says you can take 2 detachment rules. Because if you bought the Codex, then Teleport Shunt comes as standard for your army, and you get to choose one more. I wouldn't put it past them. I would not put it past them at all. That's why I'm saying Codexes don't work. They do not work anymore. This is your Codex, guys. This should be your Codex. Free. And you know why? Look how cool this is. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stratagems on average per index card. 6 stratagems on average. That is the ideal number. I've been saying this for ages. The ideal number is around 5 or 6 per faction. This is brilliant. Unfortunately, there are also lots of stratagems in the rulebook as well, which you'll have to add to your force as well. So you'll have about 10 to 15 stratagems in the end. But I think 5 or 6 is an ideal number to remember, to keep at the top of your head, and to make games really quick and really reactive. This is great. This is a fantastic step in the right direction. Unfortunately, again, the codexes are the issue, because when the codexes come out, you will have 20 to 25 stratagems to choose from as a Grey Knight player. So again, if you buy the Grey Knight Codex and I don't, I have access to 6 stratagems. If you buy the Codex, you will have access to upwards of 20. Just Grey Knight ones. I'm telling you now, that's what's going to happen. You have a marked advantage over me because I didn't spend the money to get the Codex. And that's when this edition might be, shall we say, dragging its heels a bit. And it's heartbreaking, because this is exactly, if the game was released in this state as it is now, and they left it alone, they said, nope, there won't be any codexes. We're not doing codexes anymore, this is how we're doing it. This is the definitive edition of 40k for me. If they did that, this would automatically be the best edition of 40k ever, because they got rid of codexes. They switched their business plan to be more about the consumer. They're still going to make a ton of money, a shitload of money. And the more you invest in your people, in your fan base, to give them what they want at a reasonable price and a reasonable entry fee, the more popular your hobby will be. What they don't realise is the one bottleneck of the hobby is Games Workshop themselves. It's not the fans. The fans are not the bottleneck. They'll try and have you believe that the fans are the bottleneck. They're not. We are not the bottleneck. We are the ones who want more people in here. We're not gatekeepers. We're not assholes. We're the ones who want people in here. We want the right people in here, right? We don't want it to change. But if you want to come and be involved in our thing, dude, you're more than welcome, right? Yeah. We're not the bottleneck. They are. They are. Because they ask you to pay upwards of £70 per edition just to get your fucking rules. Just to get your rules. What I mean by that is, just to get what your rules were always supposed to be. It's kind of like a Paradox game. You know, Paradox when they did Crusader Kings 2 or Stellaris. One of my main complaints about those things is that I never felt like I was playing the complete game, because to play the complete game I needed to spend upwards of £200 to buy all of the DLC, which I didn't want to do. Games Workshop are exactly the same. They really could just let you have the rules and give you the definitive rules from the start for free, as they do now in these indexes, and let you get on with it and have fun. But they don't. They come in, they nickel and dime you, and they tell you, yeah, if you want the complete experience of fighting with something like the Grey Knights, you need to buy 3 books, right? You need to buy your normal book at the start of the edition, right? The rule book. You then need to buy your codex, and then you need to buy the supplement that we give an update to your rules in, like Psychic Awakening or something like that. That's upwards of £70-80 for one army to get the complete rule set, to get the complete, the 9th edition, 8th edition, complete rule set of Grey Knights. That's what you had to do. 8th edition was even worse. All I praise it, you had to buy an index, then the codex, then you had to buy the rule book, the index, then the codex, then Psychic Awakening after that. That's 4 books. 4 books. Upwards of £100 to get your rules, to get the complete spectrum of what the Grey Knights are in those editions. What do we have now? We have indexes. This is wonderful, and I implore you, either enjoy the first couple of months of this new edition, or select this as the new edition. Select it and say, this is what we're doing now. We're not doing anything else. This is how we're going to do it. This is how our club's going to be structured. This is how our class is going to be structured. This is it. We're going to do it this way. We're going to use the indexes, and that's it. We're not going to spend money on codexes. They're banned. We're not using them. We're using these. We're using these rules because they're the most up-to-date, kept up-to-date, and balanced form of rules that we have. Because at the start of an edition, that's when the edition is most balanced. I implore you, if you don't like their business practices, don't buy the fucking books. Don't. Because they're showing you the way it's meant to be. And it's cruel, because they're showing you the way it's meant to be, and then they're bait and switching you and giving you a codex instead, which you'll have to pay for. Don't let them do it. Do not let them do it. Take advantage of these. This is a wonderful practice. I applaud anybody who even had the idea at GW to do this. This is fantastic. They deserve all the credit in the world for coming out with this. I'm really impressed. And I'm really impressed by the indexes. I think they're brilliant. I was wrong about a few things as well. There's a few things I didn't think that they would bother with that they've clearly gone above and beyond for. This is great. This is great. And this is how it should be. And for the next few months, you're going to see the hobby at its very best. Because they're going to update the rules constantly. Again and again and again and again and again. But you know what they're doing it for? They're updating the indexes for the first codex release. Because they want to make sure that that first codex that they release is as balanced as humanly possible, but they're still making you pay for their rules. The reason why they're updating all of the rules as we're going for free is because when all of these rules go into the codex, they want that to be the definitive version of the rules. Yeah? So these indexes are free. These indexes are free. And they will update them as we go along, and as they get more and more beta testers, players coming into the game. Right? They will fix the rules in the indexes for free. That's fine. That's great. We want wonderful. I love it. Then they will bring out Codex Grey Knights. And Codex Grey Knights will have the definitive version, the last version of the index within the codex. And it'll be another update as well. There'll be one last sneaky update that won't be on the index. They'll say, no, if you want that update, go and get the codex. It's the last update for Grey Knights in this edition. It's the codex. By the way, you get loads more stratagems in the codex, and you get loads more detachment rules in the codex. So, fuck you to all of you who don't have the codex. That's where we're going. And that's really a shame, because they're showing you the way forwards. They're showing you the way forwards, and then they're giving you what you want, and then they're taking it away again. Which is crueler than just giving us the codex from the fucking start. Right? This is how it should be. This is exactly how it should be. This is wonderful. This is great. I implore you, please stick with this model. Please give us this going forwards, because this will just make sure that the whole hobby just explodes in popularity. Please just give us this. Right? Take away some of the cost of doing this prohibitive hobby. Please. Alright, love you all long time. I'll speak to you tomorrow for some more Hobby Nightmares. I've got lots of teaching to do, so I'm going to get on with that. Love you all. Speak to you later. Have a good one. Bye.